It's the book club for kids.
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 It's the Book Club for Kids podcast.
Hi, I'm Kitty Felde. This week we meet a very unusual family whose names come straight from the dictionary. Meet Shenanigan Swift.
I don't know some of these words, but I can see mischief in there, and I know what that means, and I'm definitely it.
That's our celebrity reader, LA County Supervisor Janice Hahn. The book is The Swifts by Beth Lincoln. Beth shares her unique method of plotting the book.
So it's basically just like taking a big bag and shoving everything inside it and then shaking it up and seeing what came out at the end.
Our readers from the Artesia branch of the LA County Public Library have some opinions about whether our names define us.
Maybe it's better if we choose to find ourselves and let our experiences shape us instead of our names.
This is the Book Club for Kids, the show where kids talk about books. We'll tell you how you can be on the show a little later on, but first, let's meet our readers.
Hello, my name is Nikita. My name is Neha.
My name is Tiffany.
My name is Audrey.
My name is Meet, and we are all in 6th, 7th, 8th, and 10th graders from Artesia Library.
Okay, our book is The Swifts, a dictionary of scoundrels. What is it about?
It's about a lot of things, but mainly it's about Shenanigan Swift, who is a young lady with a lot of passion and a wide personality and a very huge family who all come together in a reunion, in their family reunion, to hunt for the secret treasure hidden by their arch-uncle Vile a long time ago.
This isn't sort of a normal family. What makes them unusual or interesting?
All of their names also are from a big family dictionary, and their name is their like emotions and what their entire personality is.
So give me some examples of some of these dictionary names.
So, like the main character, her name is Shenanigan, so that's not really a normal name. So she's really like, not awkward, I wouldn't say, but she's really like wild and she takes risks. So that's one example. One is Felicity. So Felicity is a name in the dictionary, but it's also a common name in the human world. So Felicity is like someone happy and nice, but she's and she is that, but she is often ridiculed for that name because it's not as unusual or unique as others.
There's this character, Earth, and that's not their real name, but I think their personality fits them because they don't really know what they want to be, but they're just being them.
I was wondering about that because Earth I've never heard of as a word. I wasn't quite sure what to think about that. So Earth you think means?
I think it means like be free because Earth never had any expectations about them.
Another weird one was the grandma.
Oh, Schadenfreude. And what does that mean?
I remember they said someone who like takes enjoyment from the misery of others, but it also means someone that at the end of the book they find out it also means that they command respect, but the meanings just changed over the years.
How would we describe this book? What kind of a book is it?
It's like kind of like a murder mystery type book, but it's like full of a lot of surprises, and it really takes you through like this journey of emotions and stuff.
Now, we all promised that we wouldn't do any spoilers, so we can continue to talk about it, but we're not going to tell you who did it or anything else like that. But, in a murder mystery, what happens and how does this book stick to that formula of what a classic murder mystery is?
It's kind of like when you're reading the book, when you turn the next page, you can't really expect what's going to happen. It's going to be like one moment everything's fine, and the next moment everything's going on a wild adventure.
What else makes a murder mystery?
Again, no spoilers, but the character who turned out to be the bad guy was the one you might least suspect. I think I figured it out at one point, but you still never know till the end. It could be anybody.
Someone always dies.
Somebody always dies in a kid's book. Is that appropriate?
I think they put enough details so that we got what was going on, but then they didn't put too many details so that the scene became gory.
Are you a murder mystery fan, Tiffany?
Yeah, I love murder mystery.
Why?
It's very interesting and it's intriguing to see the plot and the turns of how the story's going to turn out and the characters and their reactions.
Who else figured it out? Nobody. So does that mean it was a good murder mystery? I mean, should we have been able to figure it out by the end, or you're nodding? Tell me.
I think it's better that it's kept as a surprise because then the suspense goes up and that just makes the book even better.
Yeah, and then it's best sometimes because then it gets the audience's urge to like read the next book in order to figure out like who was the murderer, and it leaves the audience on a cliffhanger.
Well, let's hear a bit from the book where Shenanigan and her cousins are prowling around in the room where they store all the Swift headstones. Our celebrity reader is LA County Supervisor Janice Hahn.
Shenanigans Swift. Noun. Tomfoolery. Skullduggery. Mischief of all varieties. A devious trick for an underhanded purpose. Shenanigan chewed her lip. Well, said Felicity. That's me, all right, said Shenanigan miserably. I don't know some of these words, but I can see mischief in there, and I know what that means, and I'm definitely it. So why don't you look pleased? Asked Felicity. Phenomena started explaining to Felicity all about nature versus nurture and predetermination and a lot of other complicated things, but Shenanigan had stopped listening. She was staring at the slab of granite with her name on it. For many people, looking at your own name on a gravestone would be a sad or frightening experience. But for Shenanigan, who had been rehearsing her aunt's funeral for years, it was just like looking at a jumper she hadn't quite grown into yet. Her finger traced the neat, carved S. According to this, she would be setting traps and causing bother forever. Even if she liked her name, which she did, and even if it suited her, which it did, she would have preferred to have been consulted before she was stuck with it for life. Shenanigan was feeling a lot of complicated things and not enjoying it very much. I've got an idea, she said. Phenomena and Felicity stopped whispering. An idea from Shenanigan was a dangerous thing. We're going to need some rope, a skateboard, some matches, and some of Phenomenon's chemicals, said Shenanigan. Felicity, help me lift this down. Absolutely not, Shenanigan sighed. Felicity, don't be a wet sandwich. You're not going to blow it up or whatever it is you're thinking of doing. You'll get us all in trouble. And anyway, I'm still cross with you. Well, if you're not going to help, you can go, said Shenanigan haughtily. She started to pull at the stone. It made a grinding noise, and as it began to tip slowly towards her, Phenomena, get ready to pick it up with me. All right, said Phenomena uneasily. Shenanigan, you're not strong enough, and Phenomena definitely isn't strong enough. Fine, I'll do it alone then, Shenanigan snapped. She braced her foot against a lower shelf and pulled again, grunting with the effort. The shelf wobbled slightly. Felicity's eyes widened. She grabbed her sister's shoulder. Will you stop? You're going to hurt yourself. Shenanigan shook off her hand. Well, then you can say, I told you so. Won't that be? And with a final tug, Shenanigan managed to pull the stone over the lip of the shelf. As soon as its weight settled against her, she realized her mistake. It was far too heavy. It tipped in her hands, her name falling towards her face, and Felicity shrieking, and Shenanigan twisted out of the way just in time as the stone crashed to the floor and cracked neatly in two. For a moment, they all stood stock still. Shenanigan strained her ears, listening for movement within the house, and just as she began to relax, she heard a creak and the muffled thump of two legs and a walking stick making their way along the corridor far above them. Oh, great job, Felicity. You can't blame me for... Oh, never mind. Felicity bit back a rude word. Do what you want, but I'm not getting caught down here. She ran off into the dark.
So this idea that our names define who we are as human beings, is that an idea that resonates with you? Do you agree with that?
Yes, I do kind of agree with that because my name personally means like very earthly and loving and caring, and I don't feel like I have to live up to that name, but I feel it's kind of the way I am. So at a certain level, I do believe that, but you don't have to be what your name means. You can be whatever you want.
I think define is a strong word. You can be influenced by it, and I honestly, maybe it's better if we choose to find ourselves and let our experiences shape us instead of our names and the things that people assume define us. But again, I think a person's name does relate to their personality, but not completely.
Are you really a Tiffany inside, Tiffany?
I am me because a lot of the time people ask me what my name means, and it means clumsy. And it's actually very accurate, but sometimes I tend to make sure that I don't let it become who I am and let other people think that's what defines me.
I think it really depends on the person's personality, because my name it means strong, and sometimes I think I'm strong, but sometimes I don't think I'm strong.
Does having a name that means strong help you remember to try to be strong?
Not really.
My name means like friend, and over the years that I've been alive, like I've always like tried to make more friends, and I've been an extrovert, so that allows me. I think that ties into who I am, but that obviously doesn't define who I am gonna be.
Now, Earth changes their name. So what about you? If you were to pick another name on planet Earth, what name would that be?
It would probably be my dad's name, which is Tejas, and it means like light. Light is like something that can be found almost everywhere, and it's like really, really pretty at sometimes.
So my friend name is Audrey, and I thought her name was really pretty, and I've always wanted such a unique name like that.
There was a phrase in the book saying that we just want to be seen. What does that mean?
I think it means like expressing your real self, not hiding in front of other people, just like showing who you really are, not worrying about what other people are going to think.
The book takes place in, I guess you could call it kind of a haunted house. I mean, it's not ghosts or anything there, but it's kind of old and creaky. And it has a secret room or two and a place where the treasure is stored. So think about your own house. Is there a room that you think you could carve out someplace inside your house to create a secret room or a secret compartment?
Yeah, so there's an attic in my house, and we don't normally put anything in there, but it seems like a good place to like have stuff. Me and my little brother plan to go and like have stuff up there, but we never actually do it.
There's this bedroom which none of us use, but we put like storage boxes and everything in there. And I've always wanted to, if anybody comes into the house and I'm scared, I've always wanted to run and like hide in the middle of those boxes.
There's a closet that's just filled with clothes and like some, I don't know, bunch of stuff. And I thought maybe I can just clear it out and find a little space in there and just hide a bunch of stuff in there.
Our living room has a huge vaulted ceiling, and so the pantry in there is also really, really tall. So I never thought of this before, but this question got me thinking. If I just clear out all the shelves and food from there, it could totally be a secret room and like my secret compartment where I could keep all my interesting.
Why do you think we like secret places or small places? Because that kind of reminds me of like where my cat goes. You know, she always likes to find the smallest place possible, and I guess we like that too. Why?
I do it because I like to have silence whenever I'm trying to enjoy myself, or when I just feel like I need to get away from certain things.
Sometimes when you're scared, you just like to be alone, so then that's a place that you might feel safe in.
I think just because it's cool, like the idea that you can just have something completely secretly hidden and then the next moment it's right in front of you. I think it's just cool.
There is an odd competition. Actually, there's several of them that go on in this book. One of them involves insults. Somebody want to describe the insult contest that they have?
Okay, so you basically like say insults to each other, but it can't be anything too personal. Whoever like laughs or can't think of any more insults first loses.
I don't think that they were very nice. I mean, would you participate in an insult contest yourself?
Me personally, I would not do it, but it would be really fun to watch.
Yeah, same. I think it would be fun to watch, but I wouldn't do it with anyone except maybe my sister because I don't want to accidentally say something to offend them. But of course, if I know them well and I know they'll be okay, I'll do it.
I would probably do it with my friends because we like to joke around a lot. If anybody were to say anything to me, I would just like let it go because obviously it's a game. But then we always like to joke around and play pranks on each other.
Did this book remind you of any other book you've read?
Yeah, so when I was in 4th or 5th grade, I read the 39 Clues series, and I forgot their last name now, but there's also a really huge family that's spread all throughout the world, and they are also solving a bunch of mysteries and clues to to achieve their final goal. So this reminded me a lot of that.
Do you guys have some questions for our writer, Beth Lincoln?
If you were a character in the story, what would your name be and what would your role be in the story?
I have a couple of words that I really like as my name. The first one is erstwhile, just because I think it's a nice word and we don't use it anymore. Erstwhile is something that was formerly known as like, oh yeah, my erstwhile friend, or it's very, yeah. But that doesn't really have a good definition attached to it. It's just a word I like to say. A lot of the words that characters have as names are just ones that I like to say. They feel good in the mouth to say. But the one that I probably would be most like me is apocrypha, which is a word for knowledge that comes from an uncertain and possibly fictional source. So if you're not sure where a specific story comes from, you can't trace a legend back somewhere, you would say it is apocrypha. If you have this piece of information and you don't know whether it's true or not, it's apocrypha. And I am a collector of that kind of information and knowledge. I love that stuff. So yes, probably that.
What was your inspiration for the story?
The way I came up with the Swifts was basically by taking all of the things that I loved and shoving them into one book. I wasn't sure I was ever going to get another chance to write one, so I thought, you know what? Let's leave no stone unturned. Let's put in puzzles, let's put in ghosts, let's put in hedge mazes and rambling old houses and weird words and all of those sorts of things. So it was basically just like taking a big bag and shoving everything inside it and then shaking it up and seeing what came out at the end. But at the same time, the characters, what I like to do when I'm making a character is I will open the dictionary randomly and pick a word I like and try and create a character around it. So Shenanigan was the very first character that I made using that. And after a while, I had an entire family full of people. So I had Maelstrom, I had Aunt Schadenfreude, I had all of these people just sort of lingering around in the back of my head. And yeah, the book was the easiest place to put them.
Why did you choose for the characters to have such peculiar names?
Genuinely, I'm really bad at naming characters. Or at least I was really bad at naming characters. And I just thought, you know what? I'm sick of going to babynames.com and scrolling through to try and find something that seems right. I'm just going to pick a name for this character that like seems to encompass everything they are, or do it the other way, like I said. And it worked out really well because if you do something like that, you have to think of a reason why that would happen. And so you end up fleshing out the kind of the world of the Swifts around that. I have a special affinity for words in general. I was always one of those kids who used vocabulary that was just not comprehensible to people around me.
How did you build up the suspense to the climax and carry it out?
When I talk about plotting, I talk about it like you're making a machine. A Rube Goldberg machine, if you don't know what that is a really elaborate system of ridiculous moving parts that move towards an end. So if you've ever seen like a mouse trap that knocks over a glass bottle, that spills water, that soaks into a towel, that makes it heavier, that moves the scales downwards, that's a Rube Goldberg machine. And if you ever want to look them up, by all means do that, because they're so cool and I love them. Plotting something to me is kind of like a Rube Goldberg machine. Everything has a specific thing that it does. It moves the plot onto the next thing, onto the next thing, onto the next thing. And with building suspense, a plot also functions kind of like gravity in that you are rolling downhill, and as something rolls downhill, it gets faster and faster and faster and faster before it hits the end. And as long as you keep those two things in mind, a Rube Goldberg machine that is somehow also going downhill, that is kind of how I think about plotting.
Well, now we come to the part of the show where I ask the hardest question on planet Earth, and that is, what's the name of your favorite book of all times, and why? Why do you love it?
So there's this book called The Lemonade War. So it's where this brother and sister put up two separate lemonade stands, and they're fighting for who can make the most money, and they both like sabotage each other. So this really reminded me of how me and my sister try to do stuff to each other and when we argue, but then it all turns out fine in the end, and it's just all a big joke. So I really like that book.
I should mention that's one of our Book Club for Kids podcast episodes, and we will have a link to it in the show notes on our website as well, bookclubforkids.org.
My favorite book would probably be one that is about a kid, Chase, in the book Restart. And I found it really interesting because the kid goes from a big bully, and he changes himself for the better to benefit the school and the other students that he's hurt in the past.
My favorite book, it's the manga Spy Family, and it's really good because, I don't know how to say it, it's just really fun to read. Basically, it's about a spy named Twilight, and he has this mission to defeat this evil boss crime organizer whose son goes to a really highly educated school. And then so basically he's trying to sabotage the school, and to do that he needs to find a daughter and a wife, and the daughter turns out to be a telepath named Anya Forger, and then the wife is an assassin. But the wife is really cool. My cousin suggested it for me, so it's tied to family connections, and also it's just really good in general.
Mine would be Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. I love chocolate, and it was really nice to see that somebody could make a chocolate factory, and I loved the Oompa Loompas and all of the nice things that they were there.
So it took me a long time to decide because there's so many. But I decided on one. It's called Counting by Sevens. It's about a girl who can't walk or talk, and it's just about how she learns to deal with her condition. And I remember in the book she gets this device where she can put words together to form sentences. And one line that really stuck with me, someone asked her whether she would walk or talk, and then I remember 3 or 4 times she pressed the button for talk. So then it shows how important our voice is for us. And then just seeing her journey and her perseverance really inspired me.
By the way, that's another Book Club for Kids podcast episode. So again, we'll put the link in the website and in the show notes. Well, what about you, Beth Lincoln? What is your favorite book?
My favorite book is actually a book that I have only just read in the past 2 years. And it is The Westing Game by Ellen Raskin, which I had not read until I was about close to the end of finishing The Swifts completely, and my American editor, Julie Strauss-Gable, went, "Oh, there's a book I think you'll really love called The Westing Game." And I was like, "Oh, really?" And apparently it's a classic of American literature, but I am not from America. I am from little old England, and we don't always have the same classics, the same books. We don't share them. And so I'd never heard of The Westing Game, and even now if I go into a kid's bookshop I can't find it most of the time. But it ruled. It was really complicated puzzles. I love Turtle Wexler, who is a child who's decided that she wants to invest and become a financier. It's so fun. And I come back to that book a lot when I think about doing something a little bit strange and a little bit unusual. I'm you can do something a little bit strange and unusual, because Ellen Raskin did it and did it really, really well.
The Westing Game is another Book Club for Kids episode, and we will have a link in the show notes and at the website, bookclubforkids.org. And that's also where you can find pictures of our readers and also a list of everybody's favorite book. Now, you can be on a future Book Club for Kids podcast, too. Just have your teacher, parent, or librarian send us an email to kitty@bookclubforkids.org, and we will send you all the information. Thanks this week to producer Chad Francis. Brandon Baker composed our theme with additional music from Andrew Walton. Emma Steinkeller designed our logo. Thanks to our writer, Beth Lincoln, and our celebrity reader, LA County Supervisor Janice Hahn. And thanks to our readers this week, Nikita, Naya, Tiffany, Audrey, and Meath, and librarian Gina Oreo at the Artesia branch of the LA County Public Library. We have a free newsletter for teachers, parents, and librarians full of free tips about how to turn kids into lifelong readers. You can sign up at the website, bookclubforkids.org. And if you're going to the American Library Association conference in San Diego in June, please contact me. I'm going to be collecting reading tips from the experts, librarians and teachers, about how to get that reluctant reader to pick up a book, and I'd love to talk to you. I'll be there signing copies of my Fina Mendoza Mysteries books, and you can find me at kitty@bookclubforkids.org, and I will tell you how your readers can star in a future Book Club for Kids episode, and you can give me some reading tips. This episode was supported in part by the LA County Department of Arts and Culture as part of Creative Recovery LA, an initiative funded by the American Rescue Plan. Thank you. I'm Kitty Felde. Thanks so much for listening.